creative friends, it's Gwen. It's been a while between Maggie Holmes' stash busting shares, so I thought today I might revisit that series. New Woodland Grove has hit the studio, so what better time to stash bust with some shiny new supplies. I have a super sweet layout tutorial for you today. I'm going to talk about cut files, layout design, and layered clusters. So much to share, so let's get started. I am starting off with the cut file. This one is called Mistletoe Sprig. Technically, it's a Christmas design, but that's not what we're using it for today. I will leave more information in the description box below. You'll also find there a link to my dear friend Sarah Scrap's channel. She is the genius behind Maggie Holmes Monday, and I know she's got a fabulous video for you all to check out there. So at this point in the layout, my cut file is backed, my layout is framed, and I have glued it down just in that bottom section there. I wanted to know its exact position because I was feeling particularly brave and wanted to use a little bit of acrylic paint on this page. One of my favorite ways to do that is with a brayer. I do not prep my paper at all, and I add very, very little paint. I'm not super keen on the whole mixed media thing, so I'm quietly cautious. And you know what? I still have not figured out how to know how much to put on the page, because in the end I end up covering up a lot more of this paint than I thought I would. But when I look at it there underneath the photo, which is exactly where I wanted it to be, there looks like there's enough. But by the time I finish the layout and add all the other bits on top, you'll see in the end there's actually not very much paint showing, and that was not my initial intention at all. So if you have any tips for that, if there's any videos that I need to watch to figure this out, I would love to know. Please let me know in the comments. Okay, so we do need to talk about layout design, and for this one, I really wanted this to be heavy on the left-hand side. So all of the elements in my mind are going to flow from that left-hand edge out into the center of the page and sort of down towards the right-hand corner there. Are you wondering why I chose the left-hand side as opposed to the right-hand side? Couple of reasons, the first of which is my photo. You'll notice that my daughter, who is in the photo, she is looking towards the right, and I really like it when the subjects of my photos are looking in towards the center of the page. There are no rules in scrapbooking, but it's kind of a rule that I've made myself. In fact, actually, I shouldn't call it a rule, I should call it a predetermined decision, because some of you will know I do suffer from decision fatigue, and I know myself and my creating really, really well. And I also know that I really like it when the subjects of my photos are looking towards the center of the page. So I've already decided that that's just what I do. The other main reason I have chosen the left-hand side is because naturally your eyes will flow left to right. That's how we read. That's just sort of the natural way that we go about things. Does not mean you can't have layouts that flow right to left. It just means that when you do that, you have to work a little bit harder. And I wasn't really feeling like working hard today. I really wanted this page to come together quickly and easily. So I've just gone with something that, again, I know works. There was one other idea that I really wanted to go with for this page, and that was to use a couple of tags. This collection has a bunch of tags in it, and they're all beautiful. And I thought, let's make a row of sort of tags and journal elements and my photo at the top, and then use the pretty sprig, that cut file there is going to sort of act like a bit of a shelf. And then from there, I can add in my florals and use the cut file as a bit of a base for my embellishment clusters. Now, before I start building out any clusters, I do like to get a really clear idea of the flow of the page. And I just showed it to you there with my hands. I find that if I have a really clear idea of how I want the eye to travel around the page, that really helps me to know where to put the clusters and how big they should be and all of those things. Many of you did ask for a clustering video, and it is on my list and has been started, so be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss that. Okay, so for this layout, I am going to use the cut file to guide my embellishment clusters, and I'm going to build on that. And I want to start with one main cluster, which is going to be in the bottom right-hand corner of the photo. And it actually all starts with that large rose. Then I've positioned the tag above it, and I'm going to have a bunch of florals kind of coming out from that right-hand side there. Having the cluster extend to the right makes sense because we've just talked about how this layout is going to be really traveling left to right. I also thought it was a really great time to use one of the acetate pieces. Sometimes when you layer them onto busy pattern papers, they can get lost. I've got a lovely clean white background here, so I'm going to take advantage of that. I do want to create a visual triangle, so I do need 2 more points on my layout. So where to put those? I'm going to go with a small cluster along the top edge of that journaling card where the camera is there, and then the second small cluster will be right there on the left, sort of at the beginning of the leaf sprig. I am going to use that as a guide, and I'm going to position the elements to flow along that same cut file line. This collection has a bunch of floral elements and lots of leaves to choose from, so it really was just a matter of auditioning pieces here and there and waiting to find something that would fit. It was at this point that I thought, you know what this layout needs? A bow. I'm all about them bows, and the Maggie collections never disappoint. I did want to audition this one from the chipboard sheet. It was just a bit pink. I can't believe I just said that. And a bit big. The smaller white one that I end up using has actually been fussy cut from a pattern paper. Now, I was using the bows as a bit of a distraction because I was really struggling with this cluster on the bottom left. I'm not sure why, because I knew the flow, I knew the direction that I wanted it to go. I think it came down to what size I wanted it to be. I knew it couldn't be too big. I didn't want it competing with the large cluster on the right, but when it was smaller, it looked, I don't know, there's something not quite right there. So I went back to basics and I did what I would tell you to do, and I went and used repeating icons in each of the clusters. It's a great little tip if you want your page and your clusters to feel consistent. So I have repeated this small flower element. I repeated some of the leaf die cuts there, and I'm also going to repeat a butterfly icon. It's time to add in a title, and I found this one. It is actually another acetate piece, so go me. I think that's 2 for this layout. Feeling really good about that. Things are getting serious because I am gluing everything down. I do like to position all of the layers in my clusters first and then go back and add a liquid adhesive. For the acetate, quick tip, I have to be very, very strategic about where the glue is placed. The glue will show through that clear acetate, so you need to be sure to position it somewhere that's going to be hidden by something else. So for example, that top cluster, that top section of acetate, I just ran the glue along the bottom edge, and then that bottom edge will get tucked behind the journaling card. The other way that I really love to adhere acetate is actually by stitching. So either hand stitching or machine stitching. Yes, absolutely, you can run acetate through your sewing machine. I just find that I need to go a little bit slower and take it easy, but it stitches beautifully. So at this point, the layout was feeling put together. I just needed to add a couple more finishing touches. I wanted to build out that cluster there at the top left, and I also added a cute little sticker that just says XOXOXO underneath my title. I felt like it needed some grounding there, so a little bit more weight in terms of the balance of the page. I'll share some close-up images for you here so that you can see all of those beautiful details. If you're looking for even more Maggie Holmes stash busting ideas, be sure to check this video out right here. Thanks for being here, my creative friends. I'll see you all next time. Until then, bye!